Hello, I'm Sasha, and this presentation will cover the Native American demonstration bed at the DH Urban Farm. Before we get started talking about the plants, we must first understand who we are talking about. Although it is fairly common for people to group all Native Americans together, it is important to remember that there are many different tribes located all across the country, and depending on where you are, will greatly influence the plant species that are present. It is estimated that prior to European contact, one-third of all the Native Americans in the United States were living in California, with approximately 500 distinct tribes and subtribes. This is most likely due to the temperate weather and easy to access food sources. There are two big local tribes of the LA area, and the garden was primarily inspired by the Tongva. The plants that were selected for the garden were chosen specifically because they are known to be utilized by both of these peoples and continue to be of importance today in many different Native American cultures. Here is a picture of the native garden demonstration bed. It was established to create a colorful, evergreen, and sustainable bed of medicinal and edible plants. Since all of these plants are local to this part of California, they also encourage native insects and microorganisms to help build a healthy ecosystem at the CSUDH Urban Farm. Currently, there are 4 different plants in this garden, primarily consisting of different sage plants, including hummingbird sage, white sage, and Dara's choice sage. Contrary to the name, big sagebrush is not a true sage in the mint family and is actually a type of mugwort in the daisy family. Now we will go over the basic descriptions and uses of each plant. White sage is a fast-growing shrub with dense little hairs covering its leaves that give it a white coloring. The leaves are very aromatic, and depending on the person, that smell can either be pleasant or smell like cat pee, as stated by one DH professor. However, there is less disagreement over the smell when the leaves are dried and burned. The practice of burning dried plant material is known as smudging, and at its simplest, smudging with sage is used to drive out negative energy. To create a smudging stick, you need to gather the desired plant material and tie them together into a bundle. Let the bundles dry, and then when ready, one end can be burned. White sage can also be used in tea for addressing cold symptoms, stomach problems, and canker sores. However, it must be washed very carefully as it does contain a toxin that may cause epileptic shock. A personal favorite of mine is hummingbird sage. It is the only native sage with red flowers, where the rest have blue, purple, or white blossoms. Hummingbird sage is also unique from other sages because it acts more as ground cover and not like a shrub like the rest. The main use of the plant is to make tea, hot or cold, from the leaves, and is said to be good for sore throats and colds, as the plants do produce mild antimicrobial chemicals. The tea can then be used to make a jelly or syrup. You can also take a warm bath with the leaves for certain joint pains, or chew on the leaves on a hot day to make you feel less thirsty. Dara's choice sage is a hybrid plant introduced in the 1980s and is a cross between native creeping sage and black sage. So while it does have aromatic leaves and pretty purple flowers, this particular sage is not utilized in Native American gardens. However, black sage is a widely used plant. The seeds can be used to flavor fish, meat, and poultry, and the leaves can be heated and applied topically to help with earaches and sore throats. Black sage can also be used for smudging. The last plant is the big sagebrush. It too is used as a smudging herb. You can also boil the leaves or roast them and ground them into a powder and mix with water and make tea to treat digestive discomfort, headaches, and sore throats. You can crush the plant and rub it on cuts and sores to prevent infection in wounds as well. Only having a single raised bed to work with significantly limited the number of plants we could include. However, there are plenty of other plants native to the LA area that are important for the Tongva people, as well as some non-native plant species. Here are just a few more plants that came up in our readings, as well as plants that were suggested from the DH Anthropology Club. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please contact the DH Urban Farm or the Office of Sustainability. And don't forget to check out the Native American demonstration bed on your next visit to the urban farm.